Yes, I want to speak on the physical reality of this world, which is I made a video previous to this called Transcending Physical Reality. And in that book, Transcending Physical Reality, not that book, in that video, Transcending Physical Reality, I pretty much, I did a lot of cussing, a lot of things that was not, ideal for a video. So I had to change that because I put it in private, but I just want to express it in this way. Black people, we've been here longer than any other race, but yet we want the same things that everybody is just getting. And I'll explain to you why I think that is the reason why it's so difficult, not only by the powers that be, but the reason why it's just so difficult in the first place. Okay, the Gnostic church, the mathematics or the math or the sciences on the Gnostic church. I have a book by Colin Lowe, Colin Lowe, which explains a lot of things about this reality, and it's because it's dealing with the Gnostic sciences and mathematics, and explains a lot of things about, and basically the sciences that they're using in the Gnostic church and the Gnostic sciences are nothing but Egyptian formulas and Egyptian like Neb and Geb and all of the nature aspects of things, forces in nature and energy and mathematics. Okay, so when you looking in there and then you look at the Gnostic terms and what they use, which were nothing but African people who used to be Egyptians but moved down the line and they started forming something called, well, Christianity spent off of that, and Jesus was actually the Son, the S-U-N, not the S-O-N, but because Jesus was nothing but another example of Horus, Isis, and Osiris. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph is another example of Horus, Isis, and Osiris. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph is another example of Asar, Aset, and Heru. It's the same concepts, but passed on down the line. These are principles. Now, but anyway, now that we want to talk about the principles, these principles of life, or should I say, of a savior or a hero that we all want to always have, this is the problem. When you're looking at physical reality, this physical reality is an illusion, in the sense that we keep this illusion alive by belief, by believing or by understanding something that is not true. We make it true, then that means this is a fake reality. When you try to make something that's not true, which is mostly everything we looking at, then it's not real. By the reality not being real, your soul can be manipulated into thinking this is reality, and then your soul don't want to let go of it. It don't want to let go of it. Now, when you look at the sciences and understanding that if we've been here more than any other race on the planet, then we are transcending past all the physical things that we want, that our ancestors had for thousands and millions of years. Gold, diamonds, and all this. We had all of that already. So we had the whole planet. So what is it else for us to have? It's us to own the spiritual realm, because the spiritual realm is our realm. The spiritual realm is the realm that we transcend from, because this physical reality is done. Now, it's done for us. Now, when the Gnostics expressed this, they expressed God, or the God that we see today, as the demiurge. The demiurge is nothing but an extension of the Great Mother, which is a piece off the Great Mother, which hated the fact that the Great Mother created children before itself, which was the melanated being and spirits on the planet or the plane that we exist on. This God became jealous because this God said there'll be no other gods before me. So you wouldn't have to say that if it wasn't a fact, okay? You wouldn't even have to say that if you was a real God anyway. If you was a real God over things anyway. So when you're dealing with a force, an entity that has an issue with the fact that it was not here before the spirits or melanated beings that was here before it, then you have an egotistical problem. But let's put that to the side, because that Great Mother, which I don't know that name, but I got to get that name out of Colin Lowe's book, or the Gnostic book. That great mother, the children or the entities that she brought forth were the melanated beings, okay, us or whatever. The force, the great mother, gave her children or the gods shadows. That shadow that follows the entities around is melanin. That shadow is melanin. With that shadow, because you gotta do is read the stuff. You'll read it, you'll bring it, it'll come all the way into this reality. That shadow is the protector and the identification of who you are on this planet. So, and it's the protection from the demiurge. And the demiurge is basically wanted to destroy the original great mother's original creations, which is the melanated races. So then you could go along the lines of saying that the demiurge is basically an ego, a spin-off ego of the great mother. Now, the ego, which resides in all of us, wants to believe that all of this is real, or wants to take dominion over everything in this reality because it's insecure in its own existence. So to make everything in this realm like itself, then the psychosis has to be adopted. So when it's adopted, now you got so many different people, so many different religions that were forced upon the people through slavery and otherwise, not given to them for them to just pick on their own mind what they want to do. That egotistical form is the real reason why a lot of people are trapped in their physical body now that has no other way out but that one book. That one book that if it was a book that they put down here that's supposed to save you, you wouldn't have that book. Because they don't want you, the powers that be, the devil or whatever you call, wouldn't even want that book to even be out. You wouldn't be able to purchase that book. That book would be something that you would never be able to get. Because that book will elevate you out of all of the madness. But since that book is put in mass print, then it's got to tell you something about it. That book is shaped like a box. And that box got 4 sides. And you lock yourself in that book and don't want to look outside the book because you made a choice to say that saved you when actually you saved yourself. Because if you didn't take the initiative to want that in your life, you wouldn't have it. So in other words, to take the initiative is to show you want to change from the wretched shit that you claimed so wretched that you was doing. But that's an emotional response to an unclear solution because it doesn't give you any clear explanation. So you take an emotional response by grabbing onto a book and a religion without clear understanding of what it all means. That means, therefore, you can be played with through the mind, through illusionary things, through the ego. Because the moment you tell someone about that, that's all up into the church and over everything else, their ego fights you. Not them. It's the ego. The same ego that the Gnostics talked about that broke away from the Queen Mother, from the Great Mother. The same ego that we have adopted in our own selves because we got egos about shit that don't mean nothing, that attaches to the physical world, that don't mean nothing. This physical world is done. That is why you can't get what you want, and especially most melanated people, because we've been here the longest. We are on a spiritual path. When you're on a spiritual path, your soul is on a spiritual path. It has nothing to do with none of this materialism that you think you need or you think that's going to save you or whatever, because all of it is materialistic. Okay? And in the materialism, the ego attaches itself to the materialism, and then as soon as you fall into the physical body and fall into the physical body, because people out there, why are you saying all that? Because it's true. You don't fall, you don't rise into the physical body, you fall into the physical body. To fall into the physical body means you fail. You did not rise. The only way you're going to rise is when you rise up out of the physical body, or when you rise to your greatness of intelligence and you reach the seat of heaven, which is in the pineal gland. It has nothing to do with no other shit. So what I'm saying is when you rise, that's when you rise, okay? You fall when you're born. As soon as you're born into this world, you have failed from somewhere else. And now you're living your life in a physical, illusionary realm to discover what is it that you need to not come back here. But you're not going to get that because it's been intercepted by religion, and they standing at the gates blocking you, and they give you a book and they say, well, boom, that's the answer to everything. But if it was, then everybody wouldn't have that fucking book. You wouldn't have a Bible everywhere. If that Bible was supposed to help everybody be supreme on this planet, then you wouldn't have a Bible. You just wouldn't have it, because you can't live in a world that's full of snakes and deception and then think all of a sudden they're going to get right one time and not want to deceive you by giving you a Bible. You can't be that stupid, especially when you've been given, your ancestors been given this book through slavery and forced reasons. It is to hijack your common sense on what this shit is about. That's why they gave it to you. Intercept their common sense with this. And as soon as they go through something in life, they're going to look at every church that we got on every corner, because we got them. We got them. They can't go nowhere. We got them. The God ain't got you. The government got you. And like I put it on a video on my Facebook page, the government got you. That's why they putting churches on every corner, because they got you to trap you into this physical reality, to make you think that this is all involved, and everybody want to have all these material possessions and going crazy or all of their little successes in life and all of that, when all this is temporary. The whole thing is, it's good that you succeed and do all of these things, but that's good. Okay, what next? Because now you got to understand, the next is the spiritual part, the understanding. Because all of this physical shit, you ain't gonna be able to take it with you. You could walk out the house tonight and get hit by a fucking truck. And then what did all their accomplishments mean? When you ain't trying to find out your physical existence, to why you even here, and what your soul mean, and all of that psychosis. You don't want to care about it. Now, when we go into post-traumatic slavery syndrome is a behavior that's been adopted through the conditions on which people have been put through. So when you have post-traumatic slavery syndrome, it doesn't necessarily mean that that is the only thing that you're dealing with. That's why you have a whole bunch of insanity. You have post-traumatic slavery syndrome, post-traumatic hood syndrome, post-traumatic motherfucking post-traumatic hood syndrome, post-traumatic slavery syndrome, post-traumatic if you've been in a war or been in Vietnam, you got that syndrome. And then you got all that compounded, especially if you black, with post-traumatic slavery syndrome on top of all of that. And what you got, especially if you're a man. Because if you're a man, you're going through all of these channels. Most women can avoid some of these channels and still, but they going through it too. Most black women, they going through the post-traumatic stuff too. And all these other things they got them, like the materialisms and all of this other stuff. So when you put all of that together, the moment you fall into this physical body, you have failed into this shit. So that's why when I look at the ancient Kemite 42 laws of my 42 negative confessions, when they say I have not did this before the 10 commandments, this was way before the 10 commandments, way before the 10 commandments, thousands of years before the 10 commandments. They were saying, I did not do this. I did not do this to my neighbor. I did not steal. They were saying this. When they were saying I did not, they wasn't talking about their physical body. They was talking about their soul. Now we all know we got a soul, we got a spirit, and we got a physical body. Okay? Now the soul is a entity that sit back and watch everything. It observes, and whatever you take into your ego to think it's real, your soul gonna think it is. So that's the trick. That is why you being played with. Why you thinking so much stuff on TV and in music and all this, and they giving you Bibles and books. Why you think they doing all of this? Because they want your soul to think that shit is what it is. Your soul, not your brain, your physical brain. Your physical brain is trying to convince your soul that's what it is. Your soul is just the observer. So when the Kemites was talking about I did not do this, I did not do that, they was talking about their soul didn't do it. Their physical body is going to do it, because you're living in a physical world that is not perfect, and your body is a part of this physical world. And even they try to tell you this by you going back to the dust and you going back to this when you die. So they try to tell you that this is, your body is an extension of this physical shit here. Now, your brain is also physical, so it's part of it too. Everything that's physical is a part of this physical world. And it's very easy for that shit to get tempted and to do exactly what this physical world holds because it is a part of it. So it is impossible for you not to do nothing wrong in your whole fucking life. It is impossible. But see, you getting held down to a standard because someone gave you a book that you know if that book was the key to everything, everybody wouldn't have that shit. It just everybody wouldn't be able to get it. Motherfuckers need to wake up with that one, man. But anyway, when you dealing with that, you dealing with the spirit. Everything in this world has a spirit, a consciousness. So when you wake up in the morning, don't you think rats wake up, squirrels wake up, cats wake up, dogs wake up, mice wake up, motherfucking birds wake up because they chirping before you get up. Everything wake up in the morning. So you gonna think oh, chirp, chirp, thank you. That's what they saying. They speaking in English. First of all, English is a broken language and it's a casting spelling language and it ain't even it's a bastardized language. So first of all, you waking up saying thank you, that ain't even the proper, how you know that's the proper way to greet anything? Because you've been given a bastardized language. My whole thing is speak through the heart and the spirit like that. If you're going to speak to anything in the universe, don't even come out your mouth really because you ain't even talking right. Because it's a more ancient situation than just English. English is new. It's not ancient at all. It's not new. It's not ancient at all to this planet. It is new. So, okay, then you got to ask yourself, okay, you got a spirit, you got a soul, and you got a physical body. The physical body is connected to the brain. The brain is part of the physical body. Everything around here got a spirit. Animals got a spirit. You know why? You see a dog and that dog look like he's sad. You can look at a dog and a dog will be sad. It'll put his head down. A dog will walk in the house and you'll be like, dog will see you when you walk in the house and the dog will get happy. So the dog is showing you emotions, happiness, sadness, all of these emotions just like a person would. So why is it that you think that everything else ain't got a spirit just like you or a consciousness to wake up to know what's wrong or right or do actually know what survival is? Like even everything all the way down to the smallest motherfucking bug. Everything has a consciousness to wake up and start working and progressing and doing things. But does everything have a soul? No, it does not. So the point of the matter is why you not even recognizing that your soul is just in your body chilling. Ain't got shit to do with what you're doing physically. That is why they want you to believe it does. So they hijack it. So then your soul going somewhere else because your physical body did this when your soul and your physical body are two separate motherfucking things. It's just that the fact, okay, you going to tell me, and this will give you an example. If we, because we talking about transcending physical reality. If your soul is the same as your physical body, then how come when you die, your soul don't die? Your soul goes somewhere else. Because your soul is not a part of your physical body. It just inhabits your physical body. Just like when you get on a damn bus. When you get on a bus, are you the bus? Or are you on the bus, taking a ride on the bus, looking at all of the scenery on the bus? And then when you get to where you done seen everything, you're looking at all of the shit that you're observing. And then when you get to your destination, what you do? You get off the bus. You get off the bus. So the bus was just a vehicle taking you somewhere and you was looking at the things you were seeing on your way to your destination. And then when you got off the fucking bus and to your destination, the bus no longer existed because the bus kept moving and your ass is off on another path. So this is what I'm saying, man. The physical body is nothing but a vessel that you're traveling in, and you have to understand with your mind what deception is and this bullshit because of the fact that it is a war, that is a spiritual war. Then it's a war against your soul, not your spirit. It's a war against your soul because your soul is just sitting back trying to understand this physical reality so that it does not return to this prison plane or whatever you call it. And when you sitting there locking yourself in one box, or should I say book, because it's shaped like a box, then you will never get out of there. How you going to transcend? You're just going to come back. You're going to transcend and come back. Transcending physical reality is the next step. So whatever you're doing that's physical, that you love so much, that we all love physical things, but to love it, I don't think so. What you do is you experience these things, you learn these things, you try to teach, show, and spread knowledge from what you've learned from these things, and then you move on and elevate to something else of understanding. You don't stay locked into a book which is a box, and a box got 4 sides, and your whole soul and your ego is attached to it. Because as soon as you start talking, they ego immediately, the same ego that's in that book, the same ego that guy got, the jealousy, that I'ma kill all these people. You can go take all of the women that had not laid with no man and all of this old nasty shit. So he can say all of this old nasty, jealous ass, raunchy shit, and then have an ego behind it. And don't you think you have adopted that same thing by putting yourself into that shit? So now you have become that same God that you look in the book, all jealous and shit. Don't you'll let some get killed, or you'll let some get killed and let some die and shit. Right? And then at the same time, you gotta turn the other cheek. So what does that cause? That causes confusion, chaos, and commotion, and it never gives you a real definitive answer. So what you're living with is a psychosis of the ego grappling on to something that ain't real, but it's convincing the soul and the body that it is. And the ego is doing this. Oh man, you crazy? That saved me. When I was down on everybody was down on. I was down on some bullshit too. I was fucked up in life too. I come from some fucked up shit too. I come from it too. And I tried to go to the church too. And the answers was not there. And I didn't want to fight that. I'm not going to sit there and say, well, this shit don't make sense. And then just go with it anyway. I ain't finna let nobody spit on me and tell me it's raining. And then put an ego behind it and say, well, they said it was raining. That ain't fixing nothing. You emotional about something and ain't got no real definitive proof. Hold me down.